So one of the things we've been talking about resource capacity planning, and a lot of people start to think that Agile doesn't change that, or does change that and you don't need it anymore. In fact, you've still got to build a model from the start, no matter how you're doing software development, of what it's going to take to get work done. There's nothing fundamental about Agile that actually changes the fact that a human being needs to do a certain amount of work to accomplish it. When we were originally working out Agile, the whole point, our whole goal, was to cut out excess overhead. So let's go back to the concept that every project manager knows, a work estimate. Now, a work estimate always was just a way to say, I think this activity is going to take X number of hours. Agile, non-agile, doesn't make any difference. So, and it's important to start to understand that from a point of view of planning. So we want to do 10 new things. And I'm going to studiously avoid the word project so no one gets upset, so no one thinks the wrong thing. I want to do 10 new things, and it involves IT. How are we going to do this? And if you immediately think, oh, well, we've gone to products, so it doesn't matter, so we just kind of throw it in there somewhere, and then it all magically comes out at the end. Come on. How can that happen? Because we have things called hours, and we have things called people. And people work so many hours to produce an output. That's the way the world works. It has nothing to do with whether it's Agile or whether it's any other thing. So what we have to do, even if it's if we've gone to a product portfolio, is we need to first do an estimate of work. And I know there's going to be an issue with whether it's story points or it's not story points. Let's try to understand that we want to actually commit to telling management at least some direction of when they can have an output. Now, let's be really, really, really clear. Output equals money. Management gets paid to make decisions about where to spend the money and how to spend the money to make more money. And I can't spend an hour in two places, and I can't spend $1 in two places. We're talking absolute hardcore reality. So no matter what I do, I'm continuously in a mode of trade-offs. So now that we've agreed that we actually have to talk, how long is it going to take, in theory, to create an output? What do we do with Agile? Well, I have a lot of clients that just sort of throw a list of tasks in the backlog. And then there's another project, sorry, use the word projects, there's another thing that they're going to throw a list of tasks in the backlog for. So all of a sudden, in one team, I've got 2 lists of tasks randomly in the backlog, just listed, and I probably have whatever they were working on, because usually with a product, most teams that I talk to now are also running some maintenance and enhancements for the entire, quote, product suite they're doing. So if we say M&E, I'm going to erase some of this so we can follow it more clearly. If we say M&E, maintenance and enhancements, equals A, and we'll take new, we'll call it a new product, that's B, and we're going to take another product, and we're going to call that C. The goal is to get those at least estimated. I know some of that starts to say, well, that's not how we do it. We only estimate tasks for the next scrum. But if I do that, I have no ability to know whether or not I should insist that we work all on project A, or we do some things on product 1 or some things on product 2, whether we delay maintenance. Now, what I'm trying to communicate is it's not an issue of Agile or non-Agile, because in theory we've cut out all the gratuitous overhead. So we are absolutely looking for as much effectiveness in creating this output as we can. But I've got to know what that is. I can't make a logical decision when I have no basis for an ordered backlog. Now, I don't need every single task in there. Tell me it's 200 hours. Tell me this is 1,000. And this averages 500. And maybe I can start to do something. Now, that doesn't mean that on a Tuesday, something from here isn't going to jump the queue because it's absolutely critical. That's life in the real world. It doesn't matter if it's Agile, it doesn't matter if it's waterfall, it doesn't matter what it is. That's life in the real world. But management needs to know, because what nobody ever talks about, because there's almost an assumption that it's all for internal use, but in theory, that product 1 is actually going to drive revenue. Okay, we've got 500 hours of stuff that just makes the wheels move a little bit better in the corporation. We've got something, product 1, which is actually going to generate revenue. It's a new digital business. And we've got product 2, which is an internal enhancement. Any guess which one management might actually want done first? Guess what? Product 2, because I have a very short example here. Product 2 may not make sense, because it may be that this stuff, we can redefine this and accomplish everything we were going to do with this by thinking smarter about this. We cut that 2 hours. We rationed that by being very, very smart and making sure that there was nothing unneeded in there. And we delivered product 1. Now, that gets everybody happy. It doesn't, in this case, to tell management what we're going to do, we'd have to do it for each product across the list of proposals. Now, obviously, some of what we do, before we get into a lot of detail, is do high level. There's nothing wrong with high level modeling, because as I said, this may turn out that we can cut this quickly. So we start looking for what's driving it. Now, be clear, politics may be driving it. I can't speak to that. In a lot of organizations, politics equals money, so it doesn't matter. All we're trying to do is drive the highest priority. We've always been trying to do this. There are techniques that many Agile organizations are doing now that look like they're more efficient and more effective by building a software factory. But from a portfolio management perspective, from an overall value generated for the corporation, Not so much, because a lot of what portfolio management actually talks about is still the optimum way to make financial decisions about where a company wants to use its money. Thank you.